everyone, this is my first real YouTube video. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I thought I had some information that might be helpful to people out there. So this is going to be about my septum piercing experience and then how I took care of it after I got it. I had to adjust the camera angle a little bit there. I hope it's okay. So this is my piercing. I've had it for 2.5 months now. It's a 16 gauge. The length is 3/8, if that means anything to you. I guess it's healed. It's still a little bit sore if I hit it that way, but I can push my nose and everything, and that doesn't hurt. So there she is. I quite love it. And the best part is this baby is easily concealed inside my nose, since I have an office job and then a very conservative retail job. This is the only option I had, but luckily I really like it because of the symmetry aspect of it, that it's just right in the middle of my face, and it's not like, oh, I have a piercing on one side but not on the other side or whatever. So there's that. I'm sorry, my phone is going off. Okay, so why did I decide to get this piercing? I guess seeing it on the internet or something, besides the fact that I can hide it, it just started to look really appealing to me. I started wanting it probably about a year ago, and I was just like way too chicken, especially because I started watching YouTube videos of the piercing process. I don't recommend that. Just don't do it. Don't watch videos, don't read horror stories, just have faith in yourself and do it. That's what I would recommend, definitely. So I just kept thinking about it. I tried to talk myself out of it by watching those scary movies, but I kept on thinking about it. So one night I just decided, it was winter time at that point. So one night I just decided I'm going to do it. When the weather gets warm, I'm going to do it. I won't have a runny nose or anything, so I'm just going to make this happen. So in May, I called and made an appointment, and I was so scared. And I got in there and I'm just shaking. I felt like I was about to go have surgery or something. My piercer, she was really cool, and she was like, oh, don't worry, the septum's easy. It's like piercing butter. It's so simple. And as gross as that sounds, it really made me feel better. So I knew my husband would freak out, so I told him, don't come back in the room with me. So I went back there by myself. And I laid in this chair, and she took this orange stuff, I forget what it's called, and she cleaned my nose with it. Excuse me. And she spent a long time kind of positioning the clamp, and she finally got it in place, and she told me to inhale and then exhale. And of course I thought, you know, they tell you to inhale and then exhale, and then boom, they do it. Well, I inhaled and exhaled, nothing happened, and she told me, inhale again, exhale again. I'm like, oh my god, nothing's happening. And then she had me inhale again and exhale again, and then she put it through. And I'm telling you this in all honesty, it did not hurt at all. But there are reasons why I think that is true for me. It hurts for a lot of people, but as you can see, I have a rather large nose, and it's also really squishy. So I feel like, you know, if you had a smaller and harder nose, that would hurt more for some reason. And she commented that my septum, the sweet spot, which you probably know about if you're watching this video, that it was really thin, and that turned out to be an excellent thing. She was really impressed. I didn't even tear up. I mean, I thought I was going to too. And I didn't even bleed. I only bled like a drop when she took the needle out and put the ring in. So it was really simple. And my advice, if you're going to get your septum pierced, would be to flip it up. Have your piercer flip it up right after you get it. I know it totally sucks because you want to look at it after you get it. But for me, I had to flip it right up because I had to go to work the next day. But it really kind of keeps the piercing in place. It's not like moving around. You can't bump it. And I think that makes the healing process a little bit easier because it's not getting irritated, because it's not getting wiggled around all the time. It's just in there, and it's being held secure, and you're not bumping it. It's not getting stuff on it. It's just kind of protected in there. It took me 2 weeks before I took it down. It didn't hurt anymore at that point, really. So I started taking it down and flipping it back up. Thought it was going to take longer. It may take longer for you, but that's how it was for me. If you flip your piercing up right after you get it, It also makes that initial cleaning process a lot easier because, you know, it involves Q-tips and stuff, and you just don't want it like wiggling all over the place while you're trying to poke at it. So that's just a suggestion for me. It worked really well for me. How did I take care of my piercing after I got it? Well, my routine came from Googling from lots of different people and from my piercer. My main item was sea salt water. It has to be sea salt. It can't be iodized. So this is what I got. It's like super cheap, and it's just salt. So I would make a sea salt water solution 2 to 3 times a day. When it first started, I would do it like 3 times a day. So they tell you to use a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt for every cup of water. This is what I use, just so I can be fancy. I mean, not really, just because it's good nose size, and it doesn't, you don't have to make too much solution because this is kind of a small cup or glass or whatever. So I put like a pinch in there and put warm water in here, and then you got to take a knife or a stirring utensil and stir it up till you see all the salt dissolve, or else it's not going to be effective. And then you just dunk your nose in for 3 to 5 minutes, or just whatever feels right for you. It's kind of weird at first, but you really get used to it. So I would do that, and afterwards, Q-tips. Many Q-tips will be used in this process. I've already gone through like 2 packs of 300. After soaking it, it kind of like softens up anything that gets on your piercing, and then I would just go in and, you know, clean it off, get all the debris out of your nose. And another thing that my piercer suggested is using antibacterial soap. Some people don't recommend this, but I used salt water a lot more than I used this. So there are a couple of ways you can use the soap. Some people like to put soapy water on with a Q-tip, but I would just use this again. Put a little soap in there, put some warm water, and it's kind of bubbly, and then just kind of sit my nose in it for a while, and then make sure to rinse it out. But now I don't really use soap anymore. Mostly just stick to salt water, and I may not even have to be doing this at this point. I just like to make sure everything's still going okay. After the piercing was still very new, I was using one more thing that I had in my house, and that's because I just got my ears pierced. Well, it's been like 10 years now because I'm old, but I got my ears pierced when I was 17, so I still had some of this. That seems like a long time ago. It was. But you know, ear infections or whatever, ear piercing infections, I just still had this in my house. It is an antiseptic. But I used this too, and what I did was I put it in this little spray bottle, and I just go and kind of like wiggle around, make sure everything gets in there, and just leave it. And another thing you might find useful is this mirror. I used a mirror to kind of like see really what I was doing up in there. Another piece of advice regarding the saltwater solution, I saw this on someone else's YouTube video, that it's important you clean this out in between uses because you don't want any nose bacteria to be lingering in between nose baths. I would encourage anybody to get a septum piercing, even if you're a total square. I am actually a total square. I still can't believe that I did this. It's just totally not like me. So I think it's really awesome. I haven't changed the jewelry out yet, but I can probably do that now. So I leave you with 4 pieces of advice. The first one, if you're going to get your septum pierced, wait till warm weather. You do not want to have a runny nose with a brand new septum piercing. That just sounds horrible. I think I've had to blow my nose like once since I got it, and it just felt really weird. And then you have to clean it after you blow your nose. I mean, I wouldn't bother with that. Just wait till warm weather. My second piece of advice is don't watch scary videos on YouTube of people getting their septum pierced. It's horrible, and it's in real life, when it's happening to you, it's not like that. So don't freak yourself out. Don't read any horror stories. Don't watch septum piercing gone wrong videos. Don't even watch good septum piercing videos because they're freaky. Number 3, my piece of advice is to flip it up immediately after healing. Since we're on the subject, I will go ahead and flip it up for you and show you how it looks. you go. Now I'm a normal person. Yeah, when it's up here, like, it doesn't budge. And I think that's a really great way for you to let it heal. And my fourth piece of advice is use sea salt water. That's the main ingredient. Antibacterial soap and antiseptic to clean it. Yeah, just clean it. Don't let it get gross. That's really weird. And that's all I have. If you have any questions or comments, or if you have any advice, please comment. And before I let you go, I'll show you how I get this baby out of my nose. That's the easy part. And there she is. Thanks very much, guys. See ya.